Did you know that the Knight Anole has a special defense mechanism when it feels threatened? What do you think it does to ward off predators or competitors? We'll get back to that fun fact later, but trust me, you're gonna love it when I reveal the answer. Alright, so you've decided to invite a Knight Anole into your life. Well, congratulations, you're now the proud owner of one of the coolest reptiles out there. But let's face it, just because you have one of these vibrant green creatures doesn't mean you're done with the responsibility part. No, Knight Anoles may not demand a weekly spa day, but they do require a bit of TLC to thrive in captivity. So let's talk about the essential stuff you need to know to ensure your Knight Anole lives its best life in your home. Knight Anoles, scientific name Anolis equestris, are absolutely stunning creatures. Their bright green bodies with blue undertones and that show-stopping orange throat flap are magnificent. It's like they're constantly ready to walk down a runway for lizard vogue. You probably already know that they can grow up to 20 inches long, which is pretty impressive for a lizard. So let's just say they're not the kind of pet you can keep in a shoebox. This bad boy needs room to move and stretch. Okay, first things first, the enclosure. You can't just toss your Knight Anole in a glass box and call it a day. Nope, they deserve something much more exciting. These lizards are arboreal, meaning they love to climb. This is where the vertical space comes into play. You'll need a spacious terrarium with lots of height for them to climb, because they'll spend a good chunk of their time doing just that. At a minimum, aim for a 40-gallon tank for one adult Knight Anole, but trust me, bigger is always better when it comes to these guys. Think of it as upgrading from a studio apartment to a penthouse suite. You want your Anole to feel like royalty in their home. Now let's talk about the floor plan. When it comes to substrate, that's the material covering the bottom of the tank. Make sure you're using a mix of soil, coconut husk, and bark. These materials help retain humidity, and Knight Anoles love humidity. Keep it at around 60 to 80%, which is ideal for their health, but be cautious, the substrate shouldn't be too deep. Why? Knight Anoles are primarily tree-dwelling reptiles and spend most of their time climbing rather than burrowing. A deep substrate is unnecessary since they rarely dig. Next up, the climbing structures. Think of your Knight Anole as an adventurous parkour artist. They need branches, vines, and plenty of plants to feel at home. You'll want to create a mini jungle in their tank filled with natural materials like branches and vines that mimic their natural habitat. You can even add some live plants. They'll love it, and you'll get to enjoy the lush tropical vibe they create. Don't forget to add a water dish for hydration, because we all need our daily H2O, water, right? Knight Anoles aren't exactly fans of dry desert-like conditions. They're tropical creatures, so you'll need to keep the humidity in their tank at a comfortable level. As mentioned earlier, keep the humidity around 60 to 80%. You can maintain this level by misting the tank a couple of times a day and using a humidity gauge. Trust me, you'll want to check the humidity regularly because a dry environment will stress your Anole out. Now let's talk about the temperature. Your Knight Anole loves to bask, and they love it hot, so the basking area should be around 90 degrees Fahrenheit. For the cooler side of the tank, aim for around 75 degrees Fahrenheit. You can achieve this temperature difference with a heat lamp or ceramic heat emitter. These Anoles thrive on warmth, and giving them the proper temperature gradient will help keep them healthy. Remember, these guys are used to the sunny warmth of Cuba and the Bahamas, so they'll appreciate the tropical vibes you're setting up for them. Here's another important piece of the puzzle: lighting. A Knight Anole requires UVB lighting to stay healthy, so make sure you have a good UVB bulb in their enclosure. They need about 10 to 12 hours of UVB light each day to help with vitamin D3 synthesis. This vitamin is crucial because it helps them absorb calcium, which keeps their bones strong and healthy. Without it, they could develop serious health problems. Think of it like sending them to a sunny vacation spot every day, minus the sand. Now let's talk about feeding your Knight Anole. These little guys are insectivores, which means they love munching on live insects like crickets, roaches, mealworms, and grasshoppers. The bigger the better. Who wouldn't enjoy a meal with a side of adventure? But here's a twist. Knight Anoles also appreciate a little fruit now and then, like small pieces of berries or bananas. It's a sweet treat, but remember, fruit isn't a major part of their diet, so don't overdo it. Also, don't forget to dust their insects with calcium and vitamin D3 supplements to keep them healthy and avoid any deficiencies. Knight Anoles are generally calm, but they can be pretty territorial, so don't plan on having a multi-anole household unless you want to witness some dramatic turf wars. Think of it like two roommates fighting over the last slice of pizza. It's best to keep them solo to avoid the drama. While they're mostly chill, they can also be a bit skittish or defensive if they feel threatened, so handle them gently and sparingly. You don't want to stress them out, as too much handling can lead to health issues. They're like the introverted friend who loves a good chat but also needs their alone time. Now, even though Knight Anoles are generally hardy, there are a few health concerns you'll want to keep an eye on. These include respiratory infections, parasites, and issues with skin shedding. A dry or dirty environment can cause some serious problems, so always maintain proper humidity and cleanliness, and just like any pet, make sure to take them for regular checkups with a reptile vet. Prevention is key to keeping them healthy and happy. Before you even think about breeding your Knight Anole or taking them to your neighbor's next party, it's important to check your local laws. In most parts of the United States, Knight Anoles are legal to own, but there are exceptions. For example, Florida has restrictions because Knight Anoles are considered an invasive species in some areas. Before acquiring one, be sure to check your state or local regulations to avoid any unwanted legal issues. Internationally, some countries have restrictions or require permits to own exotic pets like the Knight Anole, so always verify with local wildlife authorities. Plus, since these lizards aren't native to many regions outside of Cuba and the Bahamas, they can sometimes be considered invasive species. In areas where they're not native, there could be special permits required to prevent accidental release into the wild. One thing you definitely want to be mindful of is where your Knight Anole comes from. It's always better to have a captive bred Anola rather than a wild caught one. Why? Well, wild caught Anoles often come with a host of health problems, plus they can pose a risk to local ecosystems if they're released or escape. Make sure to check with breeders or pet stores to ensure your Anole is captive bred. After all, you wouldn't want to bring home a pet with hidden baggage. Some areas may require an exotic pet license to own a Knight Anole, and if you're importing one, there might be even more paperwork involved. Be ready for additional regulations such as quarantine periods or documentation, especially if you're bringing your pet from overseas. As fun as owning a Knight Anole is, the paperwork is no joke. In conclusion, Knight Anoles are fascinating, stunning reptiles that thrive in the right environment. With the proper care, from their spacious enclosure to their perfect diet and humidity, your Knight Anole can live its best life as the king or queen of your home. Just make sure you're following local laws, maintaining good health practices, and remembering that owning an exotic pet comes with some responsibility. And remember that little fun fact from earlier? If you're still wondering what that special defense mechanism is, the answer is simple. When threatened, your Knight Anole puffs up its throat flap and flashes a bright orange color to make itself look way bigger than it really is. It's basically a go big or go home moment for them. So the next time your Anole gets spooked, just imagine them thinking, "I'm a fierce dragon, not a tiny lizard." So keep those tanks clean, keep the bugs coming, and most importantly, keep loving your Knight Anole like the majestic creature it is. And hey, don't forget to subscribe or drop a comment and check out our other reptile videos. Until next time, happy Anole care. Next up, ever wondered what it's like to own a snake that's as calm as a cloud, yet as mesmerizing as a work of art? Meet the Woma python, a snake that defies the usual slithering expectations. With its unique patterns, docile nature, and fascinating history, this python is one pet that's as cool as it is captivating. In our next video, we'll uncover everything about the Woma python, from their care and feeding to why they might just be the perfect reptile for first-time snake owners. And trust me, by the end you'll be wondering why you didn't meet this stunning snake sooner.